Hey guys, welcome back. I'm glad that you tuned back in to watch me finish the rest of the shrines on the Great Plateau. To be honest, a really good portion of this video is just traversing up one side of Mount Hylia and then down the other to hit the last three shrines. So I cut out as much walking around as I could and tried leaving in all like the combat and inside the shrines without making things too boring. Full disclaimer, I am very most likely absolutely butchering the intended pronunciation of every single shrine name, but I am doing my best. So anyways, let's get into it. Starting in the Eastern Abbey, I'm gonna hit up the Jabaj shrine first. I remember the first time I played Breath and I died to this single guardian again and again. Just endless game overs until I figured out how to parry its beam. So I sauntered into the Abbey, totally sure of myself and thinking I'd hit a perfect parry on the first try and one-shot the asshole who's always given me so much trouble. And then I mistimed the parry so badly he actually one-shotted me into an immediate game over. So that was fun. So, unlike I had assumed, it actually took me a minute to get the timing of a perfect parry down for the Guardian Beam. And not only that, when I fucked the timing up ever so slightly, I completely panicked and flailed around like a moron for a hot minute. But I was victorious in the end. Fuck that single Guardian. It took me a minute to realize that this dink was throwing rocks at me while I was trying to get over the wall. So I got this sweet shirt out of the deal, and then took out the little Stal dink who was throwing rocks like a child before heading into the shrine. The bomb trial is such a great starter shrine in my opinion. I think it gives players a really good feel for what to expect without actually giving anything away. I did something pretty stupid here too, actually. I fumbled my controller when my cat jumped into my lap and detonated a remote bomb that was sitting on my feet. Another immediate game over. Anyways, we'll try this again. I love this sneaky little chest back here, because that's what I was talking about earlier. This chest is like a very classic Zelda, and it gives you like a little peek as to how to think for puzzle solving for the rest of the starter shrines at least. this is one of the first 4 shrines you're going to complete, they give you a super simple visual to demonstrate how these little launching platforms work. They also introduce these little chutes that you're supposed to place round bombs in to get them from point A to point B that actually come into play a good few times in the main story. So we go to launch ourselves onto the platform with the chest and then loop back to place a round bomb into the chute so we can launch it onto the bombable bricks that are blocking the ladder leading us to the monk. So now that we've got 2 of the 4 shrines done, it's time to head into the mountains. I personally like to start at the shrine on Mount Hylia, Owadame. There are a few things we need to do before we can safely trek into the Frosty Mountains, though. There are 2 ways to get up there, using heat buffs from cooked meals or using warmer clothing. I like to use the spicy meal to receive the warm doublet from the old man. So we gotta go find him. During the day, he's chopping trees in the forest near his hut, which is located kind of south of the Temple of Time. I started with killing this bird so I could collect the meat because I knew I would need it later. I already have a Hyrule Bass in my inventory from earlier as well. So once you're at his hut, you can go inside to collect the spicy pepper on his desk. I scrolled through his journal more out of habit than anything else. It was really unnecessary. I already have this recipe memorized. He wants to remember the missing ingredient from his favorite dish, spicy meat and seafood fry. And the items he remembers are meat and a spicy pepper. So basically, you throw any meat, any fish, and the spicy pepper that you pilfered off his desk earlier into a cooking pot and go out to find the old man. If you timed it right, he'll be super close, in the trees in front of his house chopping firewood. You just need to go speak to him and then follow him back to the cabin and talk to him again when he sits down. You show him that you've made the recipe and remind him that his seafood fry needs, well, seafood. Once he's reminded of how basic English works, I mean seriously, the man wrote down the word seafood, he'll hand over the warm doublet to you. You know, for someone who wants me to save Hyrule, he sure is going out of his way to make things more difficult for me. So now we move on to all of that trekking across the mountain that I was talking about earlier. We pretty much want to go directly to the Oa Dame Shrine and then loop wide along the outside of the mountain on the west so that we can get to the Kanamut Shrine without going back down and all the way around. I'm pretty sure going the other way requires crossing a frozen river anyways. So yeah, hike all the way across Mount Hylia, either taking out or sneaking by and avoiding the Goblin camps. I like to take out everything that's directly in my path, but like not go out of my way to fight everything that I see. So I died doing something stupid here, too. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I think I just wasn't paying enough attention. Or who knows, maybe I thought the paraglider would open when I double tapped X. So I schmucked myself pretty good because, yeah, this game does have fall damage. So this time I went back and paid more attention, carefully scaling down the side of the cliff, as opposed to just yeeting myself off the side of it. And there you have it, the stasis trial. I think stasis is an interesting mechanic. I think because of how realistic this game's physics engine is. It utilizes the property of inertia in a really cool way. Shit will stay still unless it's fucked with, for lack of a more graceful explanation. So essentially, if you put an object in stasis, it's stuck. But if you fuck with it while it's stuck, all that energy is built up, and the force strikes the object all at once when the stasis is released. Object too large to move yourself, stasis it, and smack the shit out of that sucker. So we go through the shrine, using our stasis rune to stop gears from turning and giant boulders from crushing us before we can squeeze onto a different platform. Then we'll get to the giant ball on the catwalk. It's in an indent, so we can't push it, and it's not made of metal, so we can't use the magnesia screw either. Stasis keeps things from moving, so we have to use that built-up energy principle. Stasis that bad boy and smack it a few times before releasing the stasis, so the ball gets the heck out of our way. And that's it for the stasis trial. And now it's time to move on to looping across the mountain. This was the first blue bokoblin that I had come across so far, and I was so freaking ready to smack the piss out of the guy. I lined myself up for a wicked backflip shot, only for me to mistime it by a split second and have the boko slap me out of the godforsaken air. This one was especially humbling. In my defense, I thought he was going to go the other way around the pillar. After collecting my pride, I continue on. Just out of habit, I headed up to the peak of Mount Hylia to see the old man. He's right, it's a breathtaking view.
Ooh.
Back to our trek, we can take out this last boko camp before the shrine, but make sure you watch out for snowballs being pushed down the hill at you. And then here we are, the Cryonis trial. I don't know about anybody else, but this is probably my least used rune of all time. There are so few puzzles that actually require it in their solutions that it just doesn't come up that often. I'd say the most exciting part of this entire shrine is that sneaky guardian hiding behind the one corner. I barely even call these puzzles, I'm more just figuring out how and where to lift things. But I'll get this silly little seesaw out of my way so I can move on to sneaking up on the last monk on the Great Plateau. When we step out of the shrine, we are immediately bombarded by the old man bossing us around yet again. He dribbles us the fact that he's going to tell us everything. But first, he has one more task for you. Of course he does. So instead of just telling us to go to the Temple of Time, he makes it into a riddle, and not even a good one. It can basically be solved with like one eye on your map. So I'll just grab this chest in the freezing water with my fancy new rune, and I will be on my way. After we fast travel back to the Jab Beige shrine, we can creep our way back up on the Temple of Time. And since we haven't had a blood moon yet, all the enemies I took out in part 1 are still gone, so we can just saunter right up to the front door. I do, however, stumble across one of the giant skull enemy camps and accidentally alert the watch Boko before I can shoot him off his sentry tower. So as I go to like run up to the tower to get the high ground on all the other Bokos that the watch guard just alerted, something kind of funny happened. I guess someone inside of the camp set off something explosive and just decimated everyone inside without me lifting a finger. Back to the task at hand, we'll head up to the big goddess statue to trade our spirit orbs for another heart container. I always focus on the heart containers first so I'll be able to achieve everything in-game before